Hello and welcome back to another Starcraft 2 commentary brought to you by Colonel Barker. That's me. Today we're going to have a game between Puma as our blue Terran player, and down in the right hand corner we have Inori, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Inori as our red Protoss player. I think it's the second TVP I've done, and the map we're on today is called Entombed Valley, for reasons best known to the Starcraft community. In the center there's one Zelnaga tower, and I believe you can, in this particular variation on the map, spawn in any of the corners. Either, but probably not the same ones, if you know what I mean. I've forgotten the last couple of videos to thank Gosugamers. I'd like to thank Gosugamers for the replays. Couldn't do it without them. Literally, couldn't do them. Wouldn't have any replays to play. But I do always thank them in the comments box, but I just wanted to verbally thank them. And as another exciting new feature for the videos, I'd like to put out a little thank you. And I'm trying to thank specific viewers. And I'd like to thank Richard White, who's a local person who I had no idea views my videos, but apparently does, and used to play Starcraft. So, hello Richard. I'm going to continue doing that, hopefully, and just sort of shout out to all my various viewers, all 300 of them. But seriously, now, here comes Inori checking in the top right-hand corner for the expansion. We know, of course, he's not there. Now, Puma coming up with a barracks in this hidden position. I thought it might be initially an expansion first, but it looks like he's going hidden racks first, but I imagine that's going to be spotted very quick. And I suspect the reasoning behind that is that when this probe, let's just follow the probe, la la la, the first couple of minutes of StarCraft always aren't terribly exciting. The probe is going to come along, see that there's not a barracks, and wonder where those extra resources have gone, and then he's probably going to panic and go, oh dear, what's happened? Where is this? Is there an expansion? Is there a rack? So he's around searching for it, and that's probably going to put the fear of God in him that there's a racks being built somewhere near his base in close position. So he's built that, and he's going to then move that up to wall off. So my whole theory completely blown away there. And of course, Puma's very quickly come out with the orbital command, which allows him to get those mules, get that muling action. So it's just one rack expand, nothing too exciting, and then very quickly building a bunker. I mean, fortunately, there's just this one entryway to basically the first two bases, so he's pretty much okay. Now, interestingly, we're at 413, and there does not seem to be a Protoss expansion. Blah. Out comes the first Zealot, very, very quickly followed by the first Stalker, which I imagine are going to try and do some horrible things to Puma for expanding quite so early on. But I suspect they're going to be denied thanks to the three Marines in that bunker. Yup. The bunker, of course, gives the Marines just that extra range and a bit of extra protection, and that's very important early on, particularly when against Zerglings, but also great against a handful of Stalkers. So this Stalker's having a bit of a look around to the various bases, making sure there isn't anything hokey or funny going on. Of course, there is, because the SCV just snuck behind him. That Zealot just taking hold of the Zelnaga tower, keeping map control. The Stalker preventing the Terran player coming out, but I don't think he's going to be coming out in a hurry. I suspect he's going to be teching up relatively quick. It's time to bring up the production tab, I think. And out comes that expansion at 5 minutes in. That's relatively late. I suspect he just wanted to make sure he had his couple of gateways, coming out with 2 more gateways now. He just wanted to make sure he could have some gateway units up and about in case there was some very early marine action or Terran pressure, which can come in these kinds of matchups. So not the standard forge fast expand, but a nice warp gate expand. So here comes that expansion, about 650, a bit behind the Terran play, but I suspect he'll catch up. So now we've got infantry weapons level 1 coming out, stim pack coming out. and a refinery, as well as another bunker just to help protect that entryway. I think he's a little bit worried that there may be some stalker pressure coming, which is probably good because there is. And meanwhile, both sides just probing up and SCVing their way up. Out comes those double assimilators, so I imagine he's going to work his way to some slight techie units. I mean, we have the robo facility, which will just be used for that observer, just to help to get some some eyes on what's happening with the Terran player. Of course, with both those orbital commands, he can scan at any time, find out what's going on at any time. That's one thing that the Terran players are really fantastic at. I've got to say, the last game I commented, I believe the last game was basically the first that hasn't had Terran in it, and I found that a bit of a challenge. Not in terms of keeping me interested, but just a bit of a challenge because I don't know the non-Terran players particularly well. But you know, that's the whole part of the whole commentary thing is getting into the other players. So, the Marines coming along, knocking down the destructible terrain that will coming up with that third. I imagine we've got a command center building. Yep, command center building in the main. So, 2 racks into starport with a reactor. Excuse me. And that factory unit will be used as a scout. Now, I believe in the Heart of the Swarm update that's coming soon, they're going to be trying to deny that a little bit by introducing a new unit to be created in the factory that will prevent... Because once you've teched up to starports, if you're not using tanks or Hellions, the factory becomes something of a superfluous unit, and just becomes, you know, an unnecessary 200 mineral thing, or 150 mineral thing that you must build. Alright, out comes some Marine Medivac stuff. We've got the one up, the weapons level 1 out. The Blink is almost done, ground armor Protoss, and out comes a Robo Bay. So I imagine he's going to be going for some of the higher tech units rather than just plain gateways. He has 4 gateways out and 2 more gateways coming out. Terran player runs out, loses some units, and I think he was expecting to see a third. I think he was hoping to run up, spot a third, and then quickly take it out. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a scan to take out this observer very quickly, assuming he has the energy for it. Perhaps not. Mr. Zealot there, denying a third for the moment. I mean, but often what happens in these cases is the Terran player will build a third command center in order just to help build up an SCV count, and he has maybe double the amount of SCVs he needs here. So he is ready. He is ready to expand. As soon as that expansion gets lifted up, placed down, he is going to jump out with a bunch of SCVs. So a nice Stalker, Sentry, Zealot mix with the occasional Colossus thrown in for good measure, which is good. Bunch of Marines Medivac sitting up here. Factory Scout coming in. I think he just wants to know that if he can come in, do a drop. I imagine if he sees the Protoss army pushing out, he's just going to drop straight away, knock out some of these this probe count. And now, thanks to Factory, he knows that this Nexus is coming out. Now, Photon Cannon here, which would help deny potential drops, just because that seems to be the way forward. Very racks heavy, well, 5 racks heavy, with 3 with surprisingly 3 with tech labs and only 2 with reactors. So that's going to be used for those for Marauders. So we're going to be going very, very Marauder heavy. There's the Marauder heavy. And just a handful of Vikings. He's scanned, he knows that there's some Colossus there, and those Vikings are just going to help take out those Colossus relatively quickly. Perhaps not enough to take out both, but enough to certainly weaken them. And those Marauders are just fantastic at taking it on Stalkers. Very, very good mix indeed. So what have we got coming up? We have Ground Armor at level 2, another Colossus, bringing the total to 3. And Infantry and Armor level 2 on their way out. And some Ship Armor, which would just be for those Vikings. Now, I don't believe we've seen a drop yet. No, they've healed up, they've picked up. But, of course, Inori has eyes on this. He has eyes on everything. Or she, perhaps. And thanks to that, that vision of the high ground, the Terran player is just doing a fantastic job. Puma is just doing a fantastic job at just taking out those stalkers as quickly as possible. So looking at the unit cap, we're currently sitting about 140 for Inori and for Inori and around 160 for Puma, sitting slightly ahead, but that's what you want. Ugh. In comes that drop in the main, forcing half the army back, but that's going to be just used primarily for taking out as many probes as possible. He's not even going to turn and face those stalkers, just take out probes. Probe. If we look at the units lost tab, well, yeah, they're sitting relatively even at the moment. Let's look at the production tab again. The production tab's frankly far more interesting, and of course that got taken out, but it has halved, not even quite halved, the number of probes there. I'd have to say Puma is being somewhat relentless. He's come up with his third very quickly, dropped a couple more racks, not moved, no, so he's currently sitting at a total of 7 racks, and that double starport just being used for pumping out even more Vikings. Now I believe they're sticking with upgrades, yep, just the level 1 I have no idea. Weapons, I assume that is, rather than armor. And now coming with another command center, so planning on moving on to a 4th, so he doesn't plan on moving any further forward. I like this, just this marine sitting. So rather than having an enemy unit sitting in your expansion, waiting, like this, he's sitting there with a marine. There goes the factory, a Laspor factory. So coming out with more Marauders, 3/3 weapons coming out, and again ground level 2 and armor level 3 coming out for the Protoss player, so they're keeping up with one another relatively well. Out come the Templar archives. Some High Templar. Going to be fun. Now, Inori, rather. Let's not get that wrong. The Starcraft players will kill me. Sitting at 8 gates down here, and I don't believe there are any other elsewhere, so we're going to be sticking primarily gateway heavy. Out comes that storm research. Terrifying storm research. So, and both sitting at 180 as is. But out comes a bit of a push. I think that's going to be primarily to try and deny this 3rd. If he can sneak in, get that 3rd, that will put him in a tremendous advantage. Out comes the Zealot looking for hidden expansions. I think Inori rather, must not get that wrong, is slightly wary about coming out with more Colossus. He's got 1 more coming out, but that's just going to force Puma to very quickly come out with more Vikings. More of those deadly Vikings. I suspect he's waiting on his push for the level 3 weapons and armor to come out, which aren't too far away. Perhaps? Who knows? Only them. And now we've got some Archons. Some terrifying Archons coming out. And the Protoss Shield level 1, which means we're probably moving into the late game now. The Shield level upgrades are coming out. So, that orbital command is out, and a secondary orbital command coming out, so it looks like he's planning on moving into a 4th and perhaps 5th expansion very quickly. Either that or is expecting to lose it very quickly. Both players currently sitting at supply cap. We've got this Protoss Death Ball, Boar of Doom coming. Exactly the wrong time to come out with your expansion. Retreat, turn around. He may end up losing that expansion. But that was just enough to deny his expansion, because of course, Inori coming out with his expansion at the same time. And with this Protoss Death Ball at such a high level, he doesn't. Puma does not want to split off too many forces in order to attack that. Particularly now it has 3 photon cannons up as well, and defended by a gorgeous High Templar. But Inori's army has been pushed back. I'm not sure if it has been pushed back. It has lost a bit, but They're both still sitting at supply cap. You know, he's sitting at 3-3, Puma's sitting about 3-3, and again 3-3 for Inori, but level 1 on his plasma shields. Sneaking in, if he hurries, he may be able to get this expansion taken out. Out come those storms. However, there are 9 ghosts which could potentially use EMPs. Come on. Yep, EMPs landed on the entire force, which takes out their shields to nothing. You know, essentially taking out half their health in no time whatsoever. Landing more storms and more storms. Again, 173, 150. It looks like Puma has fallen behind significantly in this battle, particularly now all the Vikings have been taken out. However, this has given him an opportunity to get out his expansion. Again, these double command centers, this is something I've seen like literally the last 2 weeks in the metagame, is seeing these double command centers come out and then be used to make planetary forces. It's a fantastic tactic. I have to say, personally, I've been using it for a few months myself, but I imagine you're going to see, no, wrong. Where are they going? I am completely wrong about that. They were morphing into orbitals. I thought they were going to be planetaries, or maybe he suspected that Inori's force would be up. I must get this right. Inori's force would be up and on top of him before he had an opportunity to actually do that. So those command centers are then moving away to become the 5th of Puma. And here comes Inori's push. I don't think he has enough. I really don't. On the other hand, out comes the 5th for Inori himself. A bit anxiously. Both, no. Puma sitting about 170, Inori at supply cap. But on the other hand, when you've got these large armies like this, the entire thing can turn on a dime. A handful of zealots very quickly done, taking this expansion down. And poor Puma's army has been absolutely exterminated. I'm not going to say decimated because it's not 1/10, it's one whole. It's the entire army down. I think that's going to be enough to call the GG, sadly. I mean, even though he's in a very strong economic position, his army has been removed, and yeah, his expansion wouldn't have lasted long anyway. Well, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed casting it. I do enjoy casting these, and I think I'm slowly getting better. If you've got any comments, anything you'd prefer me to do, or anything you'd prefer me to not do, please let me know. I've been working on the opening, the first couple of minutes. And as I said, I hope to have these daily, and I hope to have these choosing some of the best games I can find, you know, with as much variation as I possibly can. Okay, well, thanks for now, goodbye for now, but not forever.